Nigeria versus Kenya. Capital city: Nigeria, Abuja. Kenya, Nairobi. National animal: Nigeria, eagle. Kenya, lion. Main religion: Nigeria, Islam. Kenya, Christianity. Population: Nigeria, 237.5 million. Kenya, 57.5 million. Landmass: Nigeria, 923,768 square kilometers. Kenya, 582,646 square kilometers. HDI: Nigeria, 0.560. Kenya, 0.628. Gini: Nigeria, 35.1. Kenya, 38.7. Life expectancy: Nigeria, 54.36 years. Kenya, 67.93 years. Literacy rate: Nigeria, 69%. Kenya, 82.88%. Peace index: Nigeria, 2.91. Kenya, 2.41. Happiness index: Nigeria, 4.9. Kenya, 4.5. Most spoken language: Nigeria, Hausa. Kenya, Swahili. Official language: Nigeria, English. Kenya, English. Internet penetration: Nigeria, 45.5%. Kenya, 48%. 5G availability: both countries have 5G connectivity, mostly in major cities like Lagos, Abuja, Nairobi, and Mombasa, among others. Access to electricity: Nigeria, 60.5%. Kenya, 76.2%. GDP nominal: Nigeria, $188.2 billion. Kenya, $131.6 billion. GDP per capita nominal: Nigeria, $807. Kenya, $2,470. GDP PPP: Nigeria, $1.5 trillion. Kenya, $401.9 billion. GDP per capita PPP: Nigeria, $6,792.40. Kenya, $7,534. Foreign exchange: Nigeria, $41.3 billion. Kenya, $7.3 billion. External debt: Nigeria, $32.4 billion. Kenya, $30.5 billion. Defense budget: Nigeria, $3.1 billion. Kenya, $1.3 billion. Military ranking: Nigeria, 31st. Kenya, 83rd. Total military personnel: Nigeria, 280,000. Kenya, 75,000. Active personnel: Nigeria, 230,000. Kenya, 50,000. Tanks: Nigeria, 330. Kenya, 188. Air Force strength: Nigeria, 163. Kenya, 156. Helicopters: Nigeria, 66. Kenya, 85. Navy vessels: Nigeria, 133. Kenya, 23. Main export: Nigeria, crude oil. Kenya, tea. Main import: Nigeria, refined petroleum. Kenya, machinery. Labor force: Nigeria, 75.7 million. Kenya, 25.5 million. Merchant marine fleet: Nigeria, 928. Kenya, 26. Ports: Nigeria, 28. Kenya, 4. Airports: Nigeria, 47. Kenya, 370. Roadway: Nigeria, 195,000 kilometers. Kenya, 161,452 kilometers. Railway coverage. Nigeria, 3,798 kilometers. Kenya, 3,819 kilometers. Waterways. Nigeria, 8,600 kilometers. Kenya, 0 kilometers. When comparing Nigeria and Kenya, we see two powerhouse nations in Africa, each with unique advantages and development paths. Nigeria, the continent's most populous country, has over 237 million people, while Kenya's population stands at around 57.5 million. Despite this difference, Kenya performs notably better in key human development areas. Kenya's life expectancy is nearly 68 years, significantly higher than Nigeria's 54 years. Likewise, Kenya's literacy rate of 82.88% surpasses Nigeria's 69%, and its HDI score of 0.628 is stronger than Nigeria's 0.560. In terms of peace and stability, Kenya also leads. With a lower global peace index score and relatively lower internal conflict levels, Kenya appears more stable. However, Nigeria scores slightly higher on the happiness index, which reflects the country's vibrant culture and resilient population. Both countries have English as an official language, but their most spoken languages differ: Hausa in Nigeria and Swahili in Kenya. Internet penetration and electricity access are higher in Kenya as well, with about 76.2% of the population having access to electricity compared to Nigeria's 60.5%. Economically, Nigeria dominates in overall size. It boasts a nominal GDP of $188.2 billion, much larger than Kenya's $131.6 billion. However, when we look at GDP per capita, Kenya is ahead with $2,470, showing a more balanced income distribution and individual economic well-being. In purchasing power parity, PPP, Nigeria's economy is still much larger, over $1.5 trillion versus Kenya's $401.9 billion. But Kenya's PPP per capita also edges past Nigeria, suggesting more value per individual. On defense, Nigeria has a significantly stronger military, ranking 31st globally compared to Kenya's 83rd. Nigeria also has more tanks, navy vessels, and personnel, showing its investment in national defense. Kenya, however, has more helicopters and a highly capable air force relative to its size. When it comes to exports, Nigeria relies heavily on crude oil, while Kenya is known for its tea exports. Nigeria's import needs are led by refined petroleum, whereas Kenya primarily imports machinery and electronics. In terms of infrastructure, Nigeria has a larger merchant fleet and more ports, but Kenya has more airports and slightly more railway coverage, enhancing its internal and external connectivity. In conclusion, Nigeria leads in economic size, military strength, and population. Kenya, on the other hand, performs better in human development, peace, life expectancy, literacy, and energy access. Each country has its strengths and areas for improvement, and both play critical roles in shaping Africa's future.
Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video.